Hey guys, how you doing? Scotty from scotsbasslessons.com, and in this lesson we're going to be talking about shifting up and down the neck. I've done a couple of exercises on this before, but I wanted to share this one because it's a really specific exercise that I work with a lot and I get a lot of students to do it, so I definitely thought it was worth showing you. If you want to check out the other shifting exercises that I've done, go over to scotsbasslessons.com, click on the lessons tab and then click on technique, and they're all there for you. So this week, let's look at this technique exercise that I've got for you, and it's essentially in 3 parts. The first part is just getting used to moving up and down the fretboard. Now, if you've heard me speak about shifting up and down the fretboard before, you'll know that I always highlight one problem everybody seems to have. And this is that their eyes are always stuck on where their finger is at that precise moment instead of where it's going to. Okay, so just to give you an exaggerated version of this, if I put my finger here, okay, on the B, if the next note that I was going to play was the A on the same string on the 12th fret, okay, I would look at the 12th fret and then simply move my finger there. Okay, now this sounds really simple and common sense, but common sense is definitely not common practice a lot of the time. Okay, so here's our finger, we want to move it to the 12th fret here, so we look at the 12th fret and then move the finger. What normally happens with a lot of players is they look at the finger, they want to move it to the 12th fret, and they follow the finger down until they get to the 12th fret, and then they hold it down again. So they play the note, then when they move it, their eyes follow the finger down, and then they finally get to the 12th fret. Okay, now there's a ton of problems here, because if you really want to be moving fast, you can't be looking at your finger as it goes down. That's why you get people, hitting the wrong frets and all that type of thing. You just want to be really focused on where you're going. This is what this exercise that we're going to be talking about today is. Okay, you want to be focused on where you're landing, not where you're coming from. Okay, so you don't need to follow your finger down the fretboard. You just look at the 12th fret and then move it. If I ask you to take your index finger and put it on the end of your nose, you can do that, right, without looking at your finger. You're not doing this. You're not following your finger. If you want to put it on your ear, you can put it on your ear. So same thing, just because we're on a bass doesn't mean it changes. We can put our finger on that 12th fret from there, like that, without having to actually follow the hand as it moves. Now, the first part of this exercise is really cool because it kind of condenses this movement into a really focused exercise. It's a chromatic exercise, and all we do is take four notes, I was going to say 4 frets, 4 notes, and let's do it all on the A string, okay? Just B, C, C sharp, D, but the notes are actually unimportant at this point. Okay, so just 4 notes. And then what you're going to do is move to the next 4 notes. Then the next 4 notes. Then the next 4 notes. Now this seems really super simple, I understand that. But what we're going to do is really focus on what our eyes are doing while we're doing this, and especially our hand movements as well, okay? So let's talk about that. First of all, just get is it 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 positions there. That's the first position, second position, third position, and then the 4th position. Okay? Now, before we get into this, there's a few things that I want to point out. A finger per fret. It's okay if you've got large hands like me. It's not that much of a stretch. But for you guys with smaller hands, you don't want to be insanely stretching, bleeding out your ears trying to stretch that. You can simply do this. You play the first note, you play the second note. When you play that third note, look where the first finger is. It's not stretching back here, it actually travels along. Now the first finger is here. Because I can move these fingers and it doesn't affect this note. So don't worry if your fingers have to come along for the journey, okay? You don't have to do that finger per fret thing at all. You can just bring them along like that. As long as there's nice spacing, it's okay. The next thing is, don't seesaw your fingers. So seesawing is when you put one finger down and the other one bobs up. So I play with my index finger. When I put this middle finger down, this index finger doesn't go whoosh and come off. And then you put the third finger down and then whoosh, the second finger comes off, and so on, okay? You want to have them all engaged and on the string, okay? So that's the 2 points that I wanted to just point out there. 2 points that I wanted to point out. That's what you do with points, right? So just play those 4 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the next set. Now, going back to the visualization point here. I've got too many points. Going back to the visualization, the next note we're going to play is the 6th fret on this same string, okay? With our index finger, okay? Now, remember what I said. We don't now look at our index finger and then pull it down, follow it like that. We don't do that. All we do is we look at the 6th fret and then we move our index finger there. That's all you do. Okay, so practice that movement. It's a really key movement, that. 4 notes, and the 5th is played with the index finger, and that's you reset for the next pattern. And then obviously the same pattern starts again. Okay, and again, you want to be playing that index finger, moving it, not looking at your index finger and moving it down. You want to be looking at where it's going to, and then simply moving your hand. So we've got shift, shift, shift. Now the key here is to get a long flowing run of notes and not da-dee-da-da, da-dee-da-da, da-doo-doo-da, da-dee-da-da. Okay, it needs to be like this. And this is a nice speed to practice it at. All the way up to the D. Okay, and then back down. We'll do back down in a minute again. So just from the B to the D. Shift. Do not look at where your first finger is, look at where you're landing. And again. And again. Looking at where you're landing, not the first finger. Just make sure you're keeping focused on those landing points, okay? And the notes should also flow into each other. It shouldn't be this. There's a lot to remember here, okay? So now going down, exact same concept, okay? So start the D, you go down 4 frets. Now you're going to move down to the next set of 4, okay? Your little finger is going to be doing the shifting down here to the 13th fret. Do not look at your little finger. Look at where the little finger is going to. And then down to the B. But when you do it, it should be nice and smooth. As little daylight as possible between the notes. We don't want at any point. We want nice and smooth. And then down we go again. Making sure not to look at the moving fingers, but to look at the actual points that we're landing on, okay? Once you've got that exercise down, then you can start speeding it up, but only when you can do it at this speed really nice and smooth should you look at speeding it up. You shouldn't start speeding it up and it be and all stuttered and awful. You should move it really slowly and get used to because it's a really weird thing that, you know, you think that playing bass is all to do with your hands, but it's actually to do with your eyes and your visualization on the fretboard, especially when you're shifting like this, okay? So make sure that it's all tied together before you start cranking up the speed. When you do start cranking up the speed, obviously, make sure you're keeping all those key elements in place. You're not looking at the fingers shifting, you're looking at the landing points. All the notes are flowing into each other as they should do. You're not seesawing your fingers like this, you know, they're all... Okay, one flowing movement. Again. Okay, so it's really, really great exercise just to get that shifting, that moving around the fretboard. Now you can also, this is the second part of the exercise, you can do this with scales, okay? So, and this is where it really comes into its own because we start making music with it, okay? There's a C major scale. Let's just play it in this area of the fingerboard. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. Saying the alphabet backwards is so weird. Can anybody out there say the alphabet backwards? Could you? No, I couldn't. Literally, I've always thought about it. Just, you know, there'll be somebody out there can just, you know, knock it out of the park with it. Anyway, so yeah, so if you could say the alphabet backwards, let us know below. And yeah, you get 3 golden stars. 3 golden stars? Yeah. 3 golden stars. I reckon it possibly could be worth more, but you know. D-Max says 3 golden stars, so I'm sorry, his choice. Anyway, so with the C major scale, okay, let's add this B in the bottom, okay, the B in the bottom, just to make it a nice even 3 notes per shift. And all we're going to do is play the C major scale on 1 string, okay? But let's add that B in just, you know, to even things out a bit. So, and again, the same concepts apply. We want to be, you know, doing all the same stuff that I've just talked about. So here's the fingering for it, okay? So starting on the finger 1, could be starting on the B, even though it's a C major scale. B, C, D. Now the next position starts with the first finger on the E, F, G. So finger 1, 2, 4. E, F, G. Then shift again. A, B, C. Okay, and then back down. So. Okay, so again, we're just getting used to moving up and down that major scale, just using the 1 string and making sure all the shifts are really bang on it, nice and smooth, no daylight between the notes, and we can visualize, you know, where the rest of the patterns are. Now, if you haven't checked out, oh, there we go, it's the wife. I want to answer this actually on, she hasn't been on a lesson for a while. Lisa, I'm just recording a lesson, can I phone you back in 2 minutes? Oh, I'll phone you back. I'll phone you back and tell you about it. Say hello to everybody. She says hello. Bye. Bye. She says hello, everybody. Bye, Lisa. Yeah. She's been on a few lessons in the past. Anyway, so the same thing applies, right? So you want to go C major, up and down, just getting used to the position shifts. And as I said, I've got tons of lessons on my website, scottsbasslessons.com. Go over there, check them out if you haven't already, because I've got a very specific way of mapping out the the scales in 3 different fingerings. We're not talking about that today, but if you want to learn it, go to the website, scottsbasslessons.com, go to the lessons library, and there's a cool search function now. If you haven't seen it, guys, go to the lessons library. DMAC, you can put in a shot of this, can't you? Ooh, sexy shot. Put in a shot, so you can type in anything, press go, and it will find it, as long as it's bass related. You know, if it's not bass related, you might find something in there, who knows? There's a lot of stuff in there. So go with the website and check it out. So C major scale. So we've got it going down this way, right? And then we practiced it doing this way. Okay, now let's mix the 2. So it starts making some musical sense to us and our ears. Okay, so let's do it. We do go down across the fingerboard first and then up across the 1 string. So. Okay, and obviously start that slow, you want to be. Doing it nice and slow. Making sure that all these shifting, you know, with the eyes are all coming into play here, you know. That's really important. That's what this exercise is for, making sure that you're looking in the right place while you're shifting. And then obviously speed it up. Oh. So try that out. You know, see how it feels. I'm sure that, you know, if you put this stuff into action where you're, you know, making sure that your visualization of your in between your shifts is correct, it's going to make a huge difference to your playing, especially if you're doing this thing where you're following your hand around right now, because it's really, you kind of, it's a bad habit that it's so easy to break. You just don't need to have that habit. And it's not like a muscular bad habit. Where it'll take a while to reprogram what you're doing. This is kind of just an awareness bad habit. If you're aware that you're looking in the wrong area, you can pretty much fix it straight away and then start using this shifting technique today or tomorrow, whenever you want. When you do that, what I'd really recommend after you can do this is really, you know, go learn these major scales all over the fingerboard. It's really, really important. And especially with this is obviously C major that we're working with today. You know, you can use these exercises on any string. So I've just been using it on the A string. You know, you could use it on the D string, on the G string, and then obviously mixing everything. So you're going up and down. You know, the major scale, that's all major scale, that, okay? That was all major scale. People think that the major scales is sort of like boring, kind of sort of like white bread, you know, sound, and it's not. There's really, all of the sounds, well, you know, a lot of the sounds are actually from the major scale. You know, I actually did a lesson called The Most Important Scale You'll Ever Learn. It's on YouTube and it's focused on the major scale, and it actually got quite a few dislikes. Boo! From people saying, no, it's not the most important scale you'll ever learn. The minor pentatonic is the most important scale you'll ever learn. And it, actually, the minor pentatonic scale is derived from the major scale. So knowing the minor pentatonic scale without understanding where it's from is just, you know, it's like it's learning things back to front. So really, you know, I understand that the minor pentatonic scale is a real draw because it's quite easy to get into, but man, you've got to learn your major scale. It's super, super important. So hopefully you enjoyed this lesson. Again, if you haven't been over to scottsbasslessons.com, make sure you do so. We've got tons of free stuff for you. In fact, I'll put a link below this lesson. If you haven't got the free toolkit over at Scott's Bass Lessons, you can get that underneath this video if you're on YouTube. And other than that, I'll see you next time. Take it easy, and I'll see you in the shed. 2015 Kickstarter challenge.
Hey everybody.
Hey
guys.
Hi everybody. Hello all. Hello.